Y'all, I like to call this the German way. See how the crust is nice? Because you leave it out, you don't put it in the refrigerator. And you just leave it out and slice it as you need it. But then look at the inside. Look at that fluffy, soft, oh. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you might be watching my video. Today I'm going to do my review on my new product review on my new Hamilton Beach bread machine. So this is the new one I got. And it's exactly like my other one, but we're going to go step by step. So let me get it out of the box. Okay, y'all. Now it comes all nice and neatly packed. See, we've got the book here, and this book is really good, y'all. You need to really look at this book. It came with 2 paddles. You only need to use 1 paddle at a time. Now, let's take all this packing stuff off. Okay, now the pan comes out by you twist it this way. It lifts straight up. Now, here's where I goofed. I think what happened is on my last one, I hit this right here with my pan when I was putting it in. See, all nice and clean in there. Here's the pan. Now let's do some measurements here. Okay, the pan is, am I all the way out? Yeah, I'm all the way out. Okay, the pan is, what is that? That's, God, I can't see. Can't see, folks. Okay, the pan is, that is 10 inches. 10 inches to 4 inches, so it's about 6 inches deep, and it is about, you know, it would help if I put it on the 1. It is about 6 inches wide. No, that would be, well, whatever. And then this way, we've got about 7.5 inches. So, there you go. Because now, see, that's not the bread machine actually, the bread pan actually starts right there. So, now this is a big machine, y'all. I need to show you this. It stands 10.5 inches tall. It is about 1 foot deep. And it is almost 10 inches wide. So see, let's go over here. Now see, that's sitting on the stove, not on the, here's the bottom of the bread machine to the top of the bread machine, that's 10 inches. This is it's not compact, that's for darn sure. And it's about 12 inches deep there. So, here's all the controls you need, and they are all explained in this book. I wish I could have gotten a black one because it's easier to keep clean. Here's your cycle. Here's your crust. Here's your loaf size. Here's your little lights. Here is your delayed timer. That's for your timer. And there's your start and stop. So now, I already know that this bread machine booklet is going to tell me that I have to burn off the residue before I start using it. So I am going to burn off the residue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the pan in. Be sure that you go straight down with the pan, y'all, till it gets there in the bottom. Let me do this right-handed. Straight down with the pan. It's not that hard to put in, y'all. It's just I'm doing this one-handed. There we go. And then it twists like that. Now, I'm going to turn it on, and it says I'm supposed to burn off. You read your book. It says to burn off the residue. So let me plug it in. Okay, y'all, I looked for where it said to burn off the excess, and this book does not have that. Y'all, you really need to look at your book, but I am going to show you. Your book is fantastic information. I am going to show you how to make a very, very simple loaf of bread that probably everybody watching this video has everything they need, or just about everything they need. Oh, here we go, right here. Before first use, check for any missing or damaged parts. Clean all parts according to the cleaning section. Set the bread maker on bake mode and bake empty for 10 minutes. Let cool down and clean all detached parts again. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to plug the bread machine in. I was looking for that. See, and it says this appliance may emit a little smoke and or odor when you turn it on for the first time. This is normal. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug it in. Just a second. Let me plug it in. Okay, and we're going to go to bake cycle. Bake cycle is number 12. Tells me right here. So, can you see that? It's kind of hard to see. Oops, I hit start. Sorry. Okay. To keep it from starting, you just hold the button down, and now it's stopped. Cycle. We want cycle 12. Okay, and we want to bake. That's just bake. That's cycle 12 right there. It says bake for 10 minutes. So we'll be back in 10 minutes. Oops, I think I overdid it. Instead of going for, because this is an hour, no, 50 minutes would be right. So it has been on for 10 minutes, just dry baking. So now I unplug it and I let it cool off. So I'll be back. I let it cool off and I wash it also. Wash the pan and stuff. So I'll be back. Okay, y'all, we're ready to make a loaf of bread. Y'all, this bread machine will walk off your counter. I had a bread machine that's how it broke. I used to set it here on my dishwasher, and I heard a bang and it was laying in the floor. And that's how I ended up buying a Hamilton Beach bread maker before. So this one, I have to set it up here on my counter in such a on my stove in such a way that it won't walk off. I have a lip here on my stove, so it won't walk off. Now, y'all, I'm not going to give you a real extensive thing of this book, but it's just got some great information in it. You do not have to use bread flour, y'all. This gives, it gives tips on flour, like Canadian flour is different from American flour. I had no idea. Troubleshooting. Here's the basic recipes. We're going to make a plain bread recipe that I know at least 99% of y'all out there have the ingredients to make this bread. This is a open the box and go type bread machine. You don't need to do a whole lot to it. You need to burn that initial off like it said here in the book, And that is right here, page 9. But now I'm going to show you a super simple bread recipe. And we're going to test this bread machine out. We're going to start with 1 cup, 8 ounces of water. Always put your liquids in the pan first. See, there's the paddle. Don't forget the paddle. I've done that before. So, 8 ounces, 1 cup of water in the pan. Then add 1 egg. Optional. I had an egg that was broken, so I have to, when you have a broken egg, you have to cook it. When we eat eggs for breakfast, we like them over easy. This egg, because it was broken, has to be cooked thoroughly, so I'm going to use it in the bread. So there's one egg. Salt, you want 1 teaspoon salt. And that's about 1 teaspoon. By the way, y'all, it does not have to be water. I have used a beer. I've used milk. But today we're doing what everybody's got in their pantry. So it's 1 cup of water, 1 egg, optional on the egg, and 1 teaspoon salt. 3 tablespoons of sugar. If you don't have sugar, use pancake syrup. If you don't have pancake syrup, use honey. But you want 3 tablespoons of sweetener. Now, if you're going to substitute your artificial sweeteners, you're going to have to figure out the ratio that is correct. We're talking plain sweetener here, such as sugar, 3 tablespoons. 1 tablespoon of oil. You can use any kind of oil you want. You can use canola, you can use olive oil, you can use grapeseed oil, you can use walnut oil. Just remember that if your oil has a flavor, then it will flavor your bread. Such as a walnut oil might make your bread taste nutty. An olive oil, if it's a real strong olive oil, you might get a hint of that in your bread. But you want 1 tablespoon of oil. You can even use butter if that's all you've got. Margarine is partially water, so best not to use margarine. If you're going to use margarine, use 2 tablespoons of margarine. So now let's put this in. So we want 1 tablespoon. That looks like 1 tablespoon. Now we're going to use 3 cups of plain flour. You can use all-purpose, you can use self-rising, you can use whatever you want, but so we don't have to worry about ratios here. We're just going to use 3 level cups of plain white flour. It can be Walmart flour, it can be White Lily, it can be King Arthur. Of course, there's better flours out there. You can use a bread flour. You don't have to use a bread flour. You can use the cheapest old Walmart flour you got. But 3 cups. And I'm going to show you how I measure my cups. I just put it down in there, shake it off to level it out. That's a half a cup. That's a half cup measure. For me, that's a half a cup. I'm going to put 6 of these in here because you need 3 cups of flour. Now we need 1½ teaspoons of yeast. This is the yeast I use. I buy it in bulk. I have not noticed a great, extreme difference in yeast, only that it's fresh or it's not fresh. So let me get my little teaspoon out of here. So there is 1. And I'm going to call that half. And I keep this yeast in the freezer, keep this yeast in the refrigerator. Okay, so now our bread pan is ready to put in the bread machine. Now, be careful because like I screwed up the last time where I hit that thing, Just lower it straight down, and I'm trying to do this. Oh, there we go. Okay, so now we're going to make a basic bread. We're going to let the bread machine do all the work. So let me plug it in. Okay, now it's set for default to 1, which is basic, right there, and to a medium crust. But I'm going to change it, my crust. I want my crust to be light. My loaf size, I only use 3 cups of flour. So my loaf size is going to be set for the 1.5 pound loaf. And start. So there it goes. I'm not going to do a thing. I'm going to shut the lid. And we're going to be back in 2 hours and 53 minutes. Now, y'all, that's just... Everybody can make that bread. I just put in that bread machine. And you watch and see how good it's going to be. I tell you what, y'all, this Hamilton Beach, the best bread machine out there. Bar none. And you watch. We're going to have us the best bread you ever tasted. We'll be back. Before I forget, now see, I have mine set up here on my stove. I know how to set this thing up where it doesn't have a lot of room to shimmy and shake. But if you're going to set this on a flat surface like your counter, it can and it will walk off your counter. Now, it just so happens, this is where I put mine. Works great. Y'all, the machine just beeped because now if you are going to add something special like nuts or raisins or something like that, now is when you would add them. So the bread machine lets you know that now is the time to add those special ingredients. It beeps several times to let you know it's time. But I'm not adding anything special. Okay, y'all, we're down to 0. And looky there. Oh, gosh. And y'all, it just smells so good. Now, I've got to take it out of the machine. So let me unplug my machine. Let me dump it out of the pan. And look, the paddle did not stay inside. The paddle is down there in the pan. So let me turn it right side up. So looky there, y'all. A beautiful, beautiful loaf of bread. So now, we're going to let everything cool off. And then we're going to slice into that bread and see how it tastes. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, gosh. Oh, that's where I let it fall out on the side. So, we'll be back. And you know I'm going to have a piece of that with real butter. Well, good morning, y'all. It's actually the next day. I let this bread cool off. It was so late last night. Now, let me show you about this loaf. I don't refrigerate my bread, by the way. I leave it out all the time. What some people don't like is the fact that the bread is so big like this. Well, what you can do, and what I do sometimes, is I cut it in half like this, and then slice those pieces. And I'll show you how I do that. But before I do, y'all, look at this. Look at this. Look. Oh, my gosh. Oh, just absolutely beautiful bread. See, now I slice slices. So let me do that. So here's some slices here of the top part. Now look at that. That is mainly a piece of bread. You know, you could get fancy and cut it nicer, but I have a little passion for the heel of the bread. So I'm going to cut this piece off here, and I already have me some butter curls. So hold on just a second, folks. So here is the heel off this other side here, and now I'm going to put me some butter curls on it. And I'm going to give it a taste. Y'all, this is so good. I can't tell you how good this is. And see, this was a super simple bread recipe. This Hamilton Beach bread machine, you know, I hate to sound like Ron Popeil, but you said it and you forget it. So thank you guys for watching. If you want a bread machine, if you've never had a bread machine, if you just want a good bread machine that just makes simple bread or exotic bread, you need to try the Hamilton Beach bread machine. And I will put got it at Walmart for $39 and some odd cents, so $40. And y'all, it's beautiful. It's a work of art, and everybody will love your bread. You will never have an excuse not to have homemade bread again. In the summertime, I use the bread machine usually to make the whole loaf where I bakes it and everything so the kitchen doesn't get hot. In the wintertime, usually I'll just use the dough setting and I'll bake it in the oven, because then the oven helps heat up the house. But Hamilton Beach bread maker, gotta get one if you don't have one. Thanks for watching, y'all. Ooh, I guess I can say this is part of my breakfast, because you know I'm going to have another slice. Bye. Y'all, I like to call this the German way. See how the crust is nice? Because you leave it out, you don't put it in the refrigerator, and you just leave it out and slice it as you need it. But then look at the inside. Look at that fluffy, soft. Oh. Yes, sirree, Bob. Best bread going.